Yeah, I think it's a great platform for us to show the kind of talent we have. I think this group that we have right now is, the potential-wise is the best group in U.S. soccer history. So I think, we need to go out there and show that. We need to prove that. We obviously have quite a tough group. People, obviously England is the highlighted one, but, the other two teams, Iran and Wales as well, are very difficult opponents. So we have to be ready for everybody. No game's easy, but that's why it's the World Cup. That's why every game's a tough competition, and wouldn't want it any other way.
All right, the final game, we'll see Wales back in the World Cup for the first time since 1958, taking on the United States, who missed 2018 as well. They're back. They've said they've gone a little bit younger. There seems to be the belief, right, that they're really preparing for 2026. That will be on American, Mexican, and Canadian soil. But when you look at this squad, no Ricardo Pepi either, Ollie. If you're talking about youth, you would think maybe the 19-year-old would have been named. I don't know. But I'm gonna go a little hot take here on you. Is this the worst USA team we've actually seen at a World Cup?
No, it's not the worst USA team we've seen. Like I think you could go back to '94, and I know that team performed well, but what the US have now is on a different level,
yes.
right?
They weren't even professionals back then, Ollie.
Exactly, right? It's not comparable. So they're not the worst US team, I don't think, by any means. There is a big question mark about how they're going to perform. I think they're going to be a good team in 2026 when you look at how young they are and the opportunity to play on home soil. This tournament, I'm not so sure. I think there's a real desire, I think, in the US and in the program to change the perception of this team, to be respected by the rest of the world as a team that plays progressive football, develops modern, players that can play at the top levels. I'm just not sure that this team is quite there yet when you actually look at, okay, that's great to have that philosophy and that idea. But when you actually look at the practical reality of it right now, they struggle badly away from home outside the United States. They have done throughout qualifying and in the friendlies before the tournament as well. Defensively, I think they're still vulnerable. I have real questions about the centre-back pairing, whatever pairing they play. And they struggle to score goals against good teams. So that, in both boxes, I think there's real concerns there. So I really think this could go either way. And we know what the reaction will be in the United States if it goes the wrong one.
Mm-hmm. How are you feeling about this, Wheels?
I agree with Ollie. Their center backs give me nightmares if I was a U.S. soccer fan. Like, they bring Tim Ream in the back from the abyss. I know he's playing every week for Fulham, but Fulham honestly have the worst XG, expected goals against, in all the Premier League. They're a nightmare defensively. And guess what? Their left back's the American left back in Anthony Robinson as well, who flies forward, but there's nothing defensively. And last time I checked, you need to be robust defensively at a World Cup. And some of their best players aren't in great form. For every Brendan Aronson there is, who I think is a wonderful player, he's the star player in this team for me. Christian Pulisic has 1 goal in 18 for Chelsea on the season and can barely get a game. They have other players that are coming in and out, have dealt with injuries. Look, I give U.S. Soccer a lot of credit in terms of the way they're developing players, but this is the youngest team heading in. I look at this as kind of being the stage that sets up for them nicely, get the experience under their belt, and then look ahead to 2026 when I think they can actually be a force of that tournament. But I think this is a step too soon for this group. I don't think they get out of the group. I don't think they come away with a win. They could very well finish bottom, the fourth out of 4 in this group.
Oof.
Jordan?
To agree with the gentleman, I won't say handsome, Andy, so you don't have to throw anything at me.
Smart.
But to agree with just the gentleman, I will say that in 2010, I remember vividly watching the U.S. play, and they made it to the round of 16, lost to Ghana. I remember that they're formidable, but they were just athletic as well and would just hustle and run and work. I feel like they're getting away from that now, and I feel like they don't really have a clear identity of how they want to play. The worst thing that could happen as a footballer is you're trying to take a bit of this player or a bit of that country, you're trying to piece it all together. There's nothing wrong with the U.S. being hard-nosed and sticking to what they know. To have a team right now that kind of is dabbling and doesn't really know. I know they're young and revamping, but to get back to that 2010 team that I really enjoyed watching in terms of they would just run and work and grind. They were unified. We hope in 4 years' time that the U.S. gets there, but right now, I know it's not all there, and I would love to hear what's going on in the camp, because I would love to see that group kind of unified and just get back to that hard-nosed, formidable group that I know they could be. So I don't think they're making it out of the group, but I also just know that this is not their tournament. But in 4 years' time, who knows? Because you asked me 4 years' time about Canada, or 4 years prior, I had nothing positive to say. But you're looking at us now, or Canada now, and bear smiles on my side.
Big game against Wales, Andy. This could decide it. Gareth Bale's been taking notes sitting on the bench at LAFC, but all these American players. He's got the inside scoop. Welsh are a difficult team to break down. Like, stronger together, together stronger. This team plays together. So I don't think that this is an easy opening match for the USA whatsoever.
All right, we've given some thoughts on that. Let's head back to Qatar and hear what KJ has to say about Monday's matches.
Hello, we're here in Al Gharafa, around about a 15-minute drive outside of central Doha. The United States Soccer Federation's training facility is right behind us, and they get set to start their World Cup on Monday, of course, against Wales. More about that game shortly. Group B kicks off on Monday, though, with the other two teams in that group, England taking on Iran. It is the 7th consecutive major tournament for England, and of course, with it comes remarkable pressure from fans and, of course, the media alike. Now, Gareth Southgate's team are traditionally very slow starters in major tournaments. In fact, England, in 5 of the last 6 openers, have only scored 1 goal in each of those games. In the other one, of course, the opener against Tunisia 4 years ago in Russia, where they almost scored 1 goal, but Harry Kane's 91st minute winner was enough for them to defeat Tunisia by 2-1. So perhaps a tepid affair against an Iranian team who are traditionally very difficult to break down. Carlos Queiroz is back in charge for that team, and of course, defensively, he has made them very solid again. In his 4 games in charge since becoming their boss in September, he's just conceded 3 goals in that game. Perhaps England can get a goal early and change their fortune and look to take over that match. The middle game before we get to the last game tomorrow is the other game in Group A, a clash of 2 legends in different dugouts. Aliou Cisse, who was captain of Senegal in their run in 2002, is in charge of that team. What can he do with the emergence of other players stepping up, because of course Sadio Mane is out of the World Cup? And Louis van Gaal, the iconic manager in charge of the Dutch, he told the media here yesterday he will be wearing his lucky orange underwear and get ready for the Netherlands to try and defeat Senegal in a big game in Group A. The other clash in Group B, of course, is in Ahmed Ali Bin Stadium. That's around about a 10-minute drive from here, where the US will take on the Welsh. Wales will play their first game in the World Cup since 1958, led, of course, by Gareth Bale, now the eldest member of the outfield squad in that team. Now, they lack World Cup experience, but what the Welsh do is they have the ability to get through tournaments. They qualified through the groups in 2016 at the Euros, topping that group, and got through the groups again at the Euros in 2020. Their opponents are the Americans. They also lack some World Cup experience. In fact, DeAndre Yedlin is the only player with World Cup experience in that squad. It's their first game in a World Cup since playing Belgium in the 2014 knockouts. What can they do? It seems like expectations are quite low around the world for the US team. I really like this team and think they can get through this group. Don't sleep on the midfield of Musa, McKennie. They're very good, in Adams. And perhaps this is the World Cup for Christian Pulisic, the X factor in that team, and arguably the best player on the pitch tomorrow night in that match. So whether you feel English, whether you feel Iranian, whether you feel American, maybe you feel Welsh, either way, Monday is your day at the FIFA World Cup.